The Justin Kinner Show with Kevin Nash live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Excited to be hanging out with all of you here this afternoon, and I'm excited for this weekend. WWE Saturday night's main event going to be coming to Dayton at the Nutter Center. I'm pretty excited. This is the first time since COVID that WWE has come back to the Miami Valley, and I can't tell you how pumped I am to go back to an here in the city of Dayton. Joining us now, WWE superstar, and let me make sure I get this right, of course, the youngest Money in the Bank winner in WWE history, Mr. Austin Theory, hanging out with us today. Austin, welcome in, sir. How are you?
I'm great, man. I mean, you said it. I'm the youngest Mr. Money in the Bank. I got to be great.
Absolutely. Hey, man. So let me talk to you about this. I think when you had started, you were at at NXT when everything had shut down and you guys were doing those, no fans in attendance. You're one of my favorite young superstars right now, mainly because of the fact that I'm a big fan of heels and I love your heel work, the way you work a crowd. How tough is that being a heel when you're not getting that instant reaction from a crowd to feed off of?
So for me, I always stay true to myself, and I know exactly what I need to do. It's one of those things, with the audience chanting "you suck" or getting onto you and stuff like that. A lot of times people fold under that. I feel like, especially when you're cutting a promo and you're constantly getting the what. But I just like to dive into that and have fun, and especially if I'm in a situation where there isn't a reaction. I figure out my best way to get that reaction because at the end of the day, that's what I want. And if there's not a reaction, then I don't need to be out there.
And with that, then of course you get right away to being able to work the crowd when fans come back. What was that moment like too? Because you being a young superstar, you're coming into the mix. You're learning how to feed off of that crowd as well. You're super talented, but I'm sure that was a learning curve as well, having to learn how to feed off of that crowd and kind of get them to zig when you want them to zag, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said before, man, it's a whole process figuring it out. And not every place you go is the same. Everybody has a different flavor of what they like and what they're interested in. And especially, starting off, you just get thrown into the deep end, and they tear you alive, and it's one of those things where you gotta really zone in and figure out what works for you and what's really going to make that crowd response better for you.
WWE superstar Austin Theory hanging out with us here this afternoon. I can't wait for Saturday. Like I said, it's my first WWE event to go to back in Dayton since COVID hit, of course. You're one of my favorite superstars in WWE right now. Not just saying that because you're on the interview with me, but I love heels, as I talked about. I think your heel work is awesome. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm a huge Pat McAfee fan from a sports talk radio perspective, and like seeing the crossover work that he was doing with you guys and getting to see the program you guys worked at Wrestlemania last year. Look, no offense to Pat McAfee, but you were in the ring with Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, how cool was that for you? Because you're obviously, you're coming up right now and you're getting a lot of the spotlight on you, but I'm sure that was a surreal moment sharing the ring with Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And to do that at WrestleMania, that was a pretty cool experience for me as a fan. What about you as a participant in that ring?
So, I mean, just to start off with, like you said, like Pat McAfee, somebody that's a great athlete, a great person, somebody that just a natural athlete inside the ring and just understands it. That was an awesome moment to share with him. But for that to be stacked with Mr. McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the ring with me at the very same time, it's like time kind of stood still, though. I remember standing in the corner and just watching Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon interact in the middle. And I remember just looking around the entire WrestleMania arena, and it was just wild to just know that I was a part of that. And everybody knows the legacy there and the story there, and what those two have done. And you can say what you want, but I think those two are definitely on the Mount Rushmore of sports entertainment.
Oh, I mean, those two, that Vince McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin era, that's what I grew up watching. That's, them and D-Generation X, those two factions or those two storylines, if you will, crossovers. That's what got me into wrestling. And, what about you growing up? Who were the guys that, I mean, you're 24, correct?
25 actually now.
25. So 25. So who were the guys that you watched, growing up? And at what point when you got to WWE, you're like, holy smokes, like I'm in the ring with these guys or I'm talking to this superstar here. Who were some of those guys for you?
For me, John Cena was definitely somebody that I grew up watching. Jeff Hardy, got to be in the ring with him.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio, Sheamus, Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, um, all those guys, man. And even getting to have moments, having a U.S. title match in the MGM Grand with Bobby Lashley, or being in the Money in the Bank ladder match, beating guys like that I grew up watching, like Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, just people like that, and being in that same moment with them. It's so crazy, man. Especially and they all hate when I say this, but having all their action figures growing up, and they're like, man, you make me feel so old, but it's how it goes, man, right?
You've already had the experience of, working in WrestleMania with Stone Cold Steve Austin in a program with Vince McMahon, of course, but who's that guy that you haven't worked with yet? I know the John Cena feelers have kind of been put out there. I don't know all the backgrounds of how WWE operates and what control you have over what storylines you're involved with, but if you could pick an angle, if you could pick a storyline of a WWE, superstar, either, current or past, that you could work with, who would that be?
Man, I'd have to say, if I could go into like a deep feud with somebody that I really would love to do that with would be Rey Mysterio.
Hmm.
I just think there's no other just real I just feel like Rey Mysterio is such a baby face. Like, people just love Rey Mysterio. And I think if you have a really good guy and a really good bad guy, I think that story would be so great. And there's so many different things you can do. We've seen Ray with Eddie, we've seen Ray with Batista, we've seen Ray with Randy. I think those are just always stood out to me, especially just the way they can get into it and all the things that Rey Mysterio can do. The talent that comes to the table is just, it's unspeakable.
Why do you think there's so much crossover appeal between yourself and John Cena? John Cena being like when he first, broke into WWE. Obviously, bodybuilders, you guys have such great physique, of course. You have charisma being such young guys, or him being young, when he broke into WWE. Did I just answer my own question? What is it about the appeal of John Cena coming in and you coming in that has everyone really clamoring for that? I know I do, but your thoughts on why that is?
So I think with me, everybody sees the comparison because of maybe it's the look, maybe it is, the speaking, or it's how I carry myself. But I,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of comparisons, like people will go back and say, oh, look, they kind of look really similar. Oh, they both, talk trash like this and do that. And so I think it's like one of those things where it's like if you've ever seen the Spider-Man movies where there's like another universe, it's almost like it's just like the same person in another universe. I feel like that's what people get a feel of. And I think combining that and the difference of where we're at on the scale of the WWE and the potential and of what could happen, I think that's what makes everybody excited for that.
All right, he's the youngest WWE Money in the Bank winner. Austin Theory, WWE superstar, awesome enough to join us on today's Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Austin, send us out with this, a sports talk show. Who like, let us know a little bit about yourself. Like, who are the teams that you follow? You follow the NFL. Like, what are some of your sports teams out there? Of course.
So this is going to be everybody's favorite part about Austin Theory. Austin Theory does not really watch sports, but I always ask this though: who is your favorite sports team?
Oh, the Cleveland Browns, and that's if there was ever a team to represent, to be a heel in WWE, the Cleveland Browns would be the biggest heel of all time. Let's just put it that way.
Now, you know what? I normally would just say, hey, I'll be, I'll be with you on that. But the reason why I'm not going to go with the Cleveland Browns is because of a guy named Johnny Gargano. And
Yeah.
anybody that doesn't know Johnny Gargano, he was kind of a mentor, for me. And he's a dude that pretty much turned out jealous, but he's a huge fan of the Cleveland Browns. So that's a hard pass for me. That's a
All right.
hard pass.
Well, that's fair enough. And you know what? I didn't even realize that would play into obviously your feud with him right now. So that was kind of got good timing on that. All right, Austin, you the man. I appreciate you. WWE fans who haven't been to an event, what can they expect on Saturday night? Dayton wrestling fans here in the area.
Well, they can expect to see the youngest Mr. Money in the Bank and the greatest thing that the WWE has ever made. and that is Austin Theory. And there's nothing like a live event experience. It's so creative and it's so much energy, and the focus is entirely on the crowd. So it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
All right, good stuff. WWE superstar Austin Theory. Austin, thanks so much. Can't wait to see you Saturday night. Take care.
Thank you, man.